So I was emailing with one of my former work colleagues a few weeks ago and mentioned I was doing a 50K today. And he wrote back and said, 50K, did you bump your head? Hi, I'm Ralph and welcome to Ageist Runner. I'm sitting in my car right now at Cedar Creek State Park in Warren County, Ohio, getting ready to run an ultramarathon put on by the Ohio River Roadrunners Club. There's actually two ultramarathons being done today. One's a 50 mile and what I'm doing is a 50K. I figured my work friend did the math and figured out that 50 kilometers is 31 miles. Yes, that's a long way, and yes, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I tried this last year and failed. I think the reason was because I'd run a very hard trail marathon a few weeks before. I just wasn't recovered, didn't have the energy reserves to do a 50K. But today's a different day. I did not do that race. We're gonna give it a shot. It's raining right now, but not very hard. It's supposed to clear up and get sunny eventually, but I see rain and mud here at the start of the race. I'm in the day lodge. This is about 2.9 miles from where we started. And then we'll turn around and we will go back. I'm gonna refill my water bottle with some Tailwind solution. I've been sucking it down. My daughter and I are staying together. This is, I mentioned, this is my daughter Christina. We're doing this together today. What a wonderful experience that is. This is just a hydration station here, water with Tailwind. So I'm coming back into the visitor center. We did our out and back to the day lodge and back to the visitor center. That's our only out and back, and then we will make 2 loops of the perimeter trail. So we've done about 6 miles. Doing good. Really humid in the forest. It rained about the first 40-45 minutes. There are some muddy, slippery spots out there. I love my trekking poles. They kept me upright. So it's a very cloudy morning. My wife texted me that it's supposed to get partly sunny by noon. That'll be nicer. Probably be a little warmer. It's been fairly cool, but boy, was it humid in the forest. I kept having problems with my glasses fogging up, and it just makes it more challenging to see the trails, but we're carrying on. So it's raining again, oh joy, but very quiet through the forest. Only runners. I don't expect to see any visitors to the park out today. It's just too wet and muddy. I don't know if you can hear or see the rain, but it's coming down pretty good at the moment. But being in the forest helps a little bit. So I'm at the Pioneer Village. We're about 9 miles in. It started raining again, as I said. It's been raining for about 45 minutes. A little harder than at the beginning of the race. You know, I've had a couple of quick steps, but if it wasn't for my trekking poles, I would have been down. So they're still a godsend. I think they are. I have no idea if these pictures are even going to turn out. My GoPro's covered in moisture and who knows what all, but we're roughly mile 10. This is my daughter Christy. I don't know if I mentioned her, but we're doing it together. We're at the 50 Springs parking lot. This is a primitive camping area, but it's also an aid station. They got food and water. We're what, about 11 miles?
I have 10.77.
Okay, I'm gonna call it 11. So how you feeling?
Good.
I am
really
too.
Good.
I'm surprised. I'm very encouraged that I'm going to make it. I think Christy will too. I'm following her. She's leading the way. So. But anyway, we're doing well. It's still been raining at least an hour and a half so far.
Better than hot.
Well, I meant to tell you, I have an extra hat in my car if you want it.
So I'm already wet by this
anyway, we're going to take off. The next milestone will be the Hopewell Day Lodge again.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
that's the next. So anyway, talk to you then. This is fairly typical of the trail. Streams of water. This stream's not too bad, but a lot of mud. Every runner comes by, their legs are just covered in mud from basically the knees down. This section's pretty good here. Not too much water running down it, but it's pretty muddy out here today. The rain is still going on. It hasn't stopped. So it's been raining maybe 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. So I'm back at the day lodge. We are now halfway. We're slightly over halfway, about 15.8 miles. It's still raining. I can't believe it's still raining. Not real hard one, but it's been raining. And the problem is with the trail, it's really slowing us down because things are slippery and treacherous. We're walking a lot more just for safety reasons. So it's going to take us a little longer to finish this than we thought. But it's an interesting situation because I've never run really much. I don't think I've done any trail running in the mud. So this made this course, which is not too tough of a course, infinitely more difficult because everything's slippery, everything's treacherous. Downhills, there's a part of the perimeter trail that goes along State Route 73. And when you get off of it and go down to the trail, it's actually downhill in this mud. And how I managed to stay upright, I don't know, because I slid down about half of it. In fact, I'm a little nervous. I'll have to do it again on the second loop. But we're about 3 miles from getting back to the visitor center, and then we'll start our second and last loop. So we're coming into the visitor center, where we are at roughly, let me check here, about 18.5 miles. So we have one more loop to the perimeter trail to do. That'll be another dozen miles or so, a little over 12. Then we're going to make it. Several people have fallen. We've heard some people talking about that, and some people got mud up their backside, but the back of our legs are just covered in mud, as are most all the runners. But we're going to rest here a little bit. I need to resupply my energy gels, and we're going to take off. So we're up to Visitor Center. We're doing our second and final lap of the perimeter trail, a little over a dozen miles. That'll get us to the 31. The sun has come out, as maybe you can tell looking around me. So I think the rain is done. I doubt it'll dry out too much of the trail, which is not enough time for that. So just, I know maybe I'm repeating myself, it's just real treacherous out there, especially downhill. It's so slippery. A few aches and pains. I'm really excited. I'm going to finish this baby. You know, last year I quit at the visitor center when I reached that mile 18, 19 mark. But this year I'm going to do it. I may have to walk more the second half, but I'm going to finish it, my first ultramarathon. I'm pretty excited about that. Things are still going to be muddy. There's actually more people coming out now. Boats on the lake. There's people hiking the trails. We'll probably see other non-runners on the trail. Although we've seen a few when it was raining. There were some die-hard hikers out here that were hiking. Kudos to them because it was raining. A little over 20 miles. Since we were here on this part of the trail maybe 4 or so hours ago, it's really gotten worse because it rained in the last 3 or 4 hours. So it's really treacherous, slow going. You know, it's really hard to get a sense of the mud on the trail and with my little GoPro, but you see things like this. It's just standing water, mud there, standing water and mud there. That's why we're going fairly slow today. This is not a fast race by any means. Whole different, look at that there. Whole different race with mud and water. Oh my gosh, look at all this. This is awful. Part of the race involves, well, what's the path with the least amount of mud? Sometimes there's one, sometimes there isn't. Definitely challenging. One of the more challenging races I've done, I think. So we are back at the Pioneer Village. It's 21.5 miles. I have no idea how long ago we were here last.
I don't know.
I'll try time. We're just trying to keep going. Walking down a muddy hill is very treacherous. Slid down part of it. Chrissy's making her way down okay, but so we're back at 50 Springs. 23.6 miles. Another little over 7 to go. I think we're going to make it. Boy, the mud is just terrible. Everything is slippery. It's getting real tacky too. You can hear your foot sticking and pulling out of the mud. So it makes it real challenging. But we're doing good. We're definitely going to make it. So my daughter noticed there's a bruise on my left calf, and my left calf has been bothering me. So I think what happened is when I was going over the suspension bridge, or they call it the swinging bridge here, it kind of slopes down and then goes up. It's got wooden planks, and it was raining, it was wet, and then of course the bottom of my shoes had mud on it, and my left foot slipped forward in front of me and ended up landing on my right knee. I think when I had that little incident, I must have strained a muscle in my left calf. So, but it's not stopping me. It's not that bothersome. It's just bruised and a little sore, but we're going to continue on. So this is the section I was talking about earlier, getting off State Route 73. As Chrissy, she's way behind me there, but she'll catch up. So I usually don't get too worried or scared on the trail, but this has me scared a little bit. It was treacherous, I don't know, 4 hours ago when we were here, and it's not gotten better because it rained, and there's probably been, you know, 60, 70 people down through here multiple times, so I'm a little concerned. Don't want to fall, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe we can find a way down here without hurting ourselves. There it is. It's mud straight down, pretty steep. So we decided to walk in the grass. That seems to be pretty safe, getting us down, avoiding the mud altogether. till we get down the bottom here. So this map here says we're at L1, we're going to K1, the day lodge, 3/10 of a mile. And once we get there, we're a little less than 3 miles to the visitor center to wrap this baby up. So we're at back at the day lodge, really our third time here. That's my son-in-law over there. My son-in-law is doing some ham radio stuff. If you're a ham radio operator, you may know about Parks on the Air. He's doing that here, trying to get some contacts. So my Garmin says 28.7. That seems a little long, but I assume all the back and forth on the trail, you know, trying to get around mud, is adding some distance. Because we're at about 2.9 miles, maybe 2.8. So we ended up going a little over 31, but we carry on here. Really feeling it. Chrissy is too. We're fighting body pains and aches. We're gonna make it. So we got less than a mile now. I'm almost at a lot lost for words. What a long, hard day this has been. This has probably been the toughest trail race and run I've ever done. This is the mud just made it awful. Chrissy and I both had a little spill. Not in the mud. Mine was on a bridge, so I didn't really get muddy. She didn't either. She was okay, but just a long, hard day. So should be finishing up here in the next, maybe 20 minutes. We'll get our first ultramarathon completed. So we made it. Let's see. My Garmin actually says 31.6 miles. So we definitely did our first 50K. Chris and I are just ecstatic about it. Oh, what a long, hard day. We'll talk more about that later. Some race, huh? Well, this is Tuesday, so it's been 3 days. I'm not feeling too bad. I actually did a very short, easy run walk this morning, only about 20 minutes. Really helped with the soreness. I actually feel pretty good today. You know, the weather wasn't the best. In fact, the day before, the weather forecast was for only a 30% chance of rain, mainly before 8 o'clock. Well, you saw how it went. So all the rain was kind of a surprise. Didn't expect that. Really made for all the horrendous conditions you saw in the video. So if I think about my strategies that I talked about before my race, I maintain my nutrition, maintain my hydration. I tend to drink every 15 minutes, eat an energy gel about every 30. And then, of course, eat food at the aid station. That worked fine. I didn't feel like I had any loss of energy or was underhydrated. Interesting point, my Garmin watch has a metric called estimated sweat loss. How it does it, or whether it's accurate or not, I don't know, but it said I lost 4.8 liters of sweat on that day. So don't know if it's accurate, but it just shows the amount of effort that goes into a race like that. As far as my mental strategies, I'd say thinking about the racing segment was the big one for me. Just thinking, I just need to get to 50 Springs, need to get to the day lodge. That really helped me segmentize and just focus on doing that next segment. I did talk a little bit in my pre-race video about the strategy of mindfulness, trying to be present in the moment. I don't know if I necessarily did that. I was just so focused on the mud and trying to stay upright. I didn't have much time to think about how I was feeling or other aspects around me of just stay upright, look where I'm stepping, watch the trail very closely. So mentally I did okay. I would say at no time during the race did I feel like I wanted to quit, and neither did Christy. So one thing about Christy, I got to give her some kudos and a real shout out. She developed some blisters, and some of them kind of burst. And the last 8 to 10 miles were very painful and arduous for her, but she toughed it out, so kudos to her. Very impressive effort. She gets that from me, by the way. So she was just a real trooper. So at no time during the race did either one of us want to quit or hang it up, so kudos to us. So you might ask me, Ralph, would you do this race again? Well, let me put it this way. This was a great experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I am going to be a stronger, tougher runner as a result of doing this. And also, I got to share the day with my daughter, Christy. Nothing beats that. So I wouldn't trade it for the world, but I would not do this race again in those kind of conditions. It's just too difficult, too strenuous, and too treacherous, really. I really worked hard to stay safe. If you've watched any of my videos, especially ones related to trail running, I don't do too many on trail running, but when I do, I always talk about safety. You know, at our age, at my age, you know, falling can be bad. I mean, who wants to fall and get hurt and then maybe not be able to run for a while? So I'm always safety minded. So that was the key to the day on Saturday, was trying to stay upright and stay safe, and I did that. I just took that one little spill I talked about. Other than that, it was very safe and day for me. So if I were to kind of summarize this, it was a great day, it was a great race, one that I never ever want to do again and go through that kind of experience again. Hey, really appreciate you watching this video. If you liked it, please scroll down and hit that like icon. That helps my channel. And if you want to stick around, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe icon at the same time. In any event, thank you again and happy running.